everybody! Can you all hear me okay? I'm thinking you can. I did actually test this out before I just went to it. But anyhow, hello everybody! Welcome back to Crochet Witch Tarot. This is Krista. And this is my first time going live. I'm very excited about it. Nervous, excited, nervous. But I thought this could be a fun way to explore this new format of my weekly videos, since they might not always be a weekly deck selection, as I've been really liking the monthly selections. I thought it could be cool if we turn this into a casual deck chat, live chat, and if we just did it live. I thought it could be fun. But anyway, we have a really fun one to do today. Oh, thank you. If I'm looking over here, my computer's there. Anyhow, so we have a really fun one today because I need to pick out my decks for November and I'm very indecisive. So I thought it could be fun if you all just walked through that with me. So I have my list of decks right here, and there's too many. There's too many on this list. I know, that doesn't exist. It does right now. So I really enjoyed doing the weekly selection. I've got my crib right here not weekly, the monthly selection for my October decks. That was really a lot of fun. But what I will say is I think I kind of just ended up with more than I could use for the month in this crib. My method was really just whatever I could fit stays. And so it kind of ended up being, there was quite a few decks I didn't really get around to using. So I'm not going to talk this week about the decks I really enjoyed using because I thought I would just save that for my monthly favorites, which should be up on Tuesday, hopefully was the 1st. And so Elizabeth says, now I can yell at you for making me buy the Feel Your Chakras Oracle. I'm not sorry. That's the best deck. Actually, Andy, who created the deck, is in chat as well. So I'm going to leave another link to that below because you brought it up. That deck is amazing. Anyway, so I will talk about the decks I really, really loved using throughout October and my favorites, which will be out early this week. So let's just get right into it. I am going to start off by, as you can see, there are already some decks in the crib. Now, these are decks that I had in there from October that I didn't get around to using, that I do feel like really could work well for November instead. So let's start with the oracles. This is a new one for me. This is the White Hair Wisdom Oracle. Now, this is the same creator as the, oh my gosh, I always forget the name of that deck. Oh, bummer. It always leaves my brain. It is Jackie Low something. Anyway, this is the art style. It's very distinct. So I didn't really get to use this. Wandwood, thank you, Wandwood. I didn't really get to use this much last month, but it was also a newer one. So I'm kind of feeling like I might want to keep it around for November, but also I think it's one that could do really well in like the real dead of winter. I feel like we get a lot of cozy winter scenes in this deck. So I could also bring it back in like December or January. So that's the option there. So this is a maybe. We're going to leave this out of the crib for now because it's a maybe. But a definite oracle that will be sticking around this much. And actually, I did use this a bunch in October. But that is the Seasons of the Witch, Samhain. Now, the catch here is that I tend to I use this deck all year round. I tend to continue using it throughout the darker half of the year. I think it just really has a great shadow work angle to it. And so, again, this tends to stay out. So this will definitely continue to make an appearance throughout November, probably throughout the whole winter. But I do also have the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle that I also really love. So what I'm planning on, this is also, it's such a good winter deck. This feels a bit different to me though, where this deck I find to be a bit confronting. This one feels really cozy and puts me in a world that I love to be in. I want to be in all the time. I love the snow, I love winter. So it feels a bit different. But my plan is, as we kind of get to that mid-November Thanksgiving kind of time, I will probably switch out the Seasons of the Witch Samhain for the Yule, is what I'm thinking. I love this one. I really do like this whole series. The Beltane one, I never ended up getting. I don't really think that one would work for me. But I am interested to see the Mabon, because I think it's a different artist, which is interesting. So the Yule is going to not be in there for now. We're going to keep, I mixed up the bugs. We're going to keep Seasons of the Witch Samhain for the first half of the month. Let's see what we've got going on over here. Yes, Seasons of the Witch Samhain. I just feel like it really works so well throughout the whole year. I see it more as like a shadow work type deck. I mean, it's super fun in this season regardless, but anyhow. What do I want to do next? Do we want to keep going with oracles or continue on what's making an appearance from last month? These are the questions. I think we'll keep going with what was in here from last month that could be staying. So, definitely staying is my Nocturnal Garden Lenormand. I've been wanting to make sure I've got at least one Lenormand deck in the rotation, and this one just feels perfect for the darker half of the year. The other ones I have are a bit more colorful and light, so don't feel super seasonally appropriate. So this one is definitely going to stick around, although if the Possum Lenormand comes out, it might come out. Because I love that one, I really do. It's so much fun. So that will continue to be my Lenormand deck for the month, which I actually really did use quite a bit in October, I will say. All right, let's go over to the tarot that was featured in the October crib and possibly will be sticking around. So the first one we have here is my Trionfi della Luna illustrated pips. I don't think I used this even once during October. I really do, and I love this deck. This one just brings me so much joy. It makes me laugh. I don't know, I just love it. But something about the colors, it's the beige color, honestly the color of the backs, like the beige with that kind of burgundy red, really makes me think November. So I put this into the October selection, knowing it probably was going to work better for November. So I do think I'm definitely going to keep this one around. Subject to change, because I guess I don't think I mentioned my goal here is to keep it at like 10 tarot decks, 10 oracles. The oracle selection I don't think will be super hard, but I've got quite a list of tarot decks that are possible here, so this is all subject to change as we go. The next one is the Madame Lydia Wilhelmina, which I was really surprised I didn't end up, I used it a few times, but not as much as I thought I would. And I really do love this deck. And I think it could most definitely work outside of the Samhain Halloween season. I think it really only has like, it's creepy and spooky for sure, but I feel like it's just the Fool card that has the jack-o'-lantern head that makes it feel specifically October, but otherwise, I really do think it could work. I think the interesting about this deck is, yeah, see, there's the Fool. It's got this real vintage, kind of like ancestral, ghostly feel to it. And November, I really tend to lean into that vintage ancestor work type deck feeling. So I do think this would work really well for that. I did not have this deck last year, so I don't know if it works in that way. I have a feeling it's going to be really good for that though. So next up we have the Hush Tarot, which also I don't think got used at all in October. I wanted to have it there because I like having a fae or fairy deck on hand if that is something I'm feeling like working with for my daily polls, but this was just not one I worked with in October. But November is when we really start to see that winter approaching, things really decaying. I think this energy could work super well for this time of the year with all the death and decay it portrays. So I have a feeling this one is probably a definite for use in November. Again, just because it really does give off that November type feeling. November is an interesting month. I always find September and November to feel really liminal almost. But oh, Bohemian Gothic is such a good deck. I don't have that one. I do hope to get it when they do. I think they have one more reprint they're doing. I can't believe they're not doing decks anymore. Baba Studios. I feel like that's like such their thing. I'm interested to see what they do beyond making tarot and oracle decks. They did announce that once they do these next few decks that they already had scheduled, that they're gonna stop. But yes, the Baba Studios Bohemian Gothic is definitely one I want to pick up, hopefully. Last but not least, with decks, this is actually a new one I got in October, and I did use it quite a bit. I just have loved it. So this is definitely going to be a repeat in the October favorites, but it is the Dark Wood Tarot. This is like, I know there is a Disney villain tarot, but if there wasn't, I feel like this would be the Disney villain tarot. That's what it feels like to me. It could be that it's because it's the same artist as the Nightmare Before Christmas deck, but it really just has that feel to me. This deck has possibly my favorite Wheel of Fortune ever. It looks like it has those two little creatures from Hercules, Pain and... what is it? It's Pain and... oh, I can't remember the other little guy's name. Let me see if I can find it. But it is just, this deck, I don't know, I just love it. I love the imagery. I love the guidebook as well. The guidebook is really awesome. And I love the Llewellyn cardstock. Let me see if I can, is it Pain and Punishment or something? Pain and Panic, yes, yes, yes. I was trying to remember because I was like, no, the nervous one is not Pain. There's like the nervous one and the real mischievous one. Pain and Panic. Where is that card? Oh, I love it so much when it comes up. Oh, maybe I already passed it, but anyway, the Wheel of Fortune card in this deck instantly makes me think of those characters, which are some of my favorite Disney villain characters, because they're just kind of... oh, it was right on the bottom. Here. This is probably my favorite Wheel of Fortune ever. And when you read the guidebook message, it is really cool how it's depicted. Yes, Hercules is such a good movie. So I think this one's definitely going to stick around for this month, honestly. Oh no, sorry, there was one more. It's just not in its bag because I was sitting here edging it while I was waiting for 9 o'clock. The Antique Anatomy did not really come into play this month, and I really do want to give it a shot. And I think it's because I have I only had the version that I modded with following Don Michelle at Boho Tarot's mod with the book pages and stuff like that, which I love how it came out. I added stickers. It was a lot of fun. I do have a walkthrough of that I will try and remember to link below. But it does make it a bit hard to shuffle. So towards the end of the month, I did get a second copy that I found used. So now I have one that I don't really have to worry about shuffling and ruining anything. So I do think it's going to come much more into play this coming month because it is a deck that really, really interests me. I think I think because I am more used to reading with that pip style. Hi, Marlene. I am good. How are you? This is my first live. Yes, how's everyone doing this morning? I don't think I even asked that. How rude of me. I am good this morning. My only gripe of the day is that I've started putting out my bird feeder, and it has been getting decimated by the squirrels. I never thought I would have an animal sworn enemy, but they're getting there. But the thing is, like, obviously I would never hurt them, and I want them to get their food too if they're hungry. I leave them their own special food, but they will not leave that bird feeder alone. I went out and bought a new bird feeder yesterday that was supposed to be squirrel proof. I woke up this morning, the whole thing was emptied out onto the ground. So the next tactic will ensue. But anyway, the Antique Anatomy, pretty positive it's going to stay in there. Let me think of a way to mark that in the basket though, because I'm going to forget about it again. Where's its bag? Here we go. Okay, we're just going to put this random bag in here to hold its place. So that is already 5 for tarot. They are smart. Oh, I love squirrels too. That's why I say sworn enemy in a very joking way, because I want them to be happy little animals too. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out someday, somehow. So I think let's keep going with. I think we should switch back to Oracle because I do think that's going to be a bit easier for me. Oh, Marlene, I totally think you could do a live chat. I love watching your videos. I love how it feels like I'm sitting down and like getting to have a chat with you. Obviously, if you're comfortable with it, no need to have to do one, but I don't think you have a reason to be nervous, in my own opinion. Do it that way you will. I just said Oracle, and now we're opening a tarot. So, oracles that I have. I've got my whole pile of decks right here. The first one I really definitely want to use in November is the Coastal Curiosities. Now, this is the new 2nd edition, which I've really been loving. And I was sad to have to put it away. Not have to, but I put it away in favor of my spooky decks for October. But this is one that generally is always out. And I do think it's really extra special right about now because, again, I really like to lean into that vintage kind of feel, which this deck definitely has. So I'm 99% sure this one is going to be in that basket. Oh, that's so cool! Lunchtime in the UK. This is so fun. I was really nervous to do any sort of live video, but it does feel like I'm actually getting to hang out with you all, which is fun. So next on the Oracle list, we have the Illuminated Earth Oracle, which to me also feels like a Yes, the layered look to Coastal Curiosities is really, really neat. And in the second edition, she explains the collaging. So this is another one that feels like a deck for the darker months. And I think it would be really interesting to use in November alongside some of the tarot decks I picked out, because it's one that pairs surprisingly really, really well for me with a lot of different style tarot decks. So I find that, oh no, my computer's going to die. Let's see if, wow, that really died quickly. I had it all charged. I guess because it usually sits on a charger. Let's see if Paul is willing to save the day. Otherwise, I will take a pause and go get that quickly. So the Illuminated Earth works really well with a lot of different style of decks for me. Especially, what I've been really surprised with is the kind of like more vintage style tarot decks. I usually have a hard time pairing that with my other oracles, but this one works really well. Next up, the Southern Gothic Oracle. This is one that I can't think of when I got it. Maybe August? But I have been loving it ever since. I didn't use it at all this month because it wasn't part of my October selections, but I do think it would be really cool to bring. But I had the haunts. Maybe I should have brought it out in October. That's okay. Regardless, I do think this will be really fun to use in November. The imagery is so beautiful. I love the keywords we get, and I really like that we get 2 per each card. That's something that feels really different and interesting to me. Oh, bad computer. I know! I don't know. These will be the, trials of the first time. Oh! Thank you. You're a hero. We have a charger! Okay. Let's get this plugged in, why don't we? And good to go. Okay. Anyway, Southern Gothic. I've really been loving using this deck. It's one of those that, ooh, upside down. It's one of those that I feel like I have so many readings where I'll pull just one card, and after reading that message, I'm good to go. Like, I don't always need to pull. Not that it's a bad thing to pull tarot around it, but it's really awesome if I want like a quick reading to really tell me how it is. I really feel like this is one that it's like a one card and you could be good if you want to. So this is one I've just been really excited to use again because I did put it away for October. Let's see, where are we at for Oracle? I'm not counting Lenormand. Just so we know. We're at 5 already. Oh my gosh! How do I end up doing this? Paul to the rescue, yeah. He really saved the day today. Alright. Let's talk about my 2 new ones. My 2 new oracles. Up first, the Urban Crow Oracle. This is not one I ever thought I was going to get. Because I had the Crow Tarot by MJ Cullinane, but it just didn't really end up working out for me. So I figured this was probably similar, but it's definitely not. And also that it's the Urban Crow Oracle. I have never lived in an urban setting. I didn't think that would be something I could connect to. But I find it's similar to how I feel about Southern Gothic, where if it is something you relate to, there is that level of connection, but it's not so predominant where if it's not something you connect to, that it's distracting, if that makes sense. I am just covering all the keywords. There we go. Let me hold it in my right hand, left hand. Who knows? And the keywords on this one I find to be so different from any other oracle I have. That's what really drew my attention. I can't think of what video I was watching. I think it was a video recently put out by Rowan Tree Tarot. They were talking about they were showing all their oracle decks, and they showed this one. And so that's where I really saw a flip through and saw the different keywords, and right away, like, look at this. Self-interest. How different is that? Yes, Urban Crow is so good. I've been really impressed with it so far. I've only had it for about a week now. But it was those different keywords that really, really drew me in. And so I think this would be really great for November as well. So I think this is definitely going to have to make the cut too. We are going to have to make decisions, people. I'm not doing I'm not being as succinct as I thought I was, even with Oracle. Okay. I do want to have a fairy deck. So let's talk about that. I tried to have both a fairy tarot and oracle. I don't think I had an oracle last month, but I did find myself missing that a bit. So this is the Fairy Forest oracle, which I love. I got it in the new matte finish that Blue Angel has been putting out, which is just some of the best cardstock. Yes, MJ Coulinane, look at that. That's one of my favorites. MJ Coulinane is a really great deck creator. I always love her guidebooks. I do have the Furhaxa, which has been really cool with the Crow Oracle as well. But I did trim this down to the colored borders, and I really love this deck. It's one that took a bit to grow on me. But now that it has, how many decks do you average a month? Do you switch each week or just whenever you want? So, how many decks do I average a month in terms of how many I choose to use? It kind of depends. Last month, I definitely had too much of a selection, I felt. So my method is that I've got this bin next to me, next to my reading table that I do my daily readings at every morning. And pretty much it gives me the opportunity each morning to pick whatever I want in that basket. So it's not really picking from week to week with this monthly method. It's whatever I want to use. So that's where having too high of a number like I did last month kind of made it so I didn't use so many of the decks. My goal here today is to do 10 Oracle and 10 Tarot, which I'm sure definitely sounds like a high number, and there is still the chance that there are some decks I don't end up using, but I do think that makes it interesting. So I want to narrow it down a little bit. I think last month I might have had like 14 each or something like that. So I think 10 will be a good number. And that way we can kind of reconvene at the end of the month, see what really got used and maybe what didn't. So this is one I would like to use as my fairy deck for the month. So now we are at 7. Okay. Along with that, I do really like having animal oracles. And looking at my pile right now, I have 3. So, oh wait, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could have all the animal oracles. So just to preface, I've got Woodland Wardens, Sawyer's Nature Portals. This is the mixed together Druid plant and animal. Then the last oracle I have to select is the... Oh no, I've got some more. Ooh, yeah, we gotta choose. Goddess Guidance, but then, no, okay. I missed a pile. So, let's put the animal decks aside for now and look at... The Goddess Guidance is one that I really enjoy because I do think it covers a lot of ground when it comes to goddess decks. but that's not really an energy I tend to work with tons outside of the specific deities I work with. So that's a deck I am kind of unsure about. I think actually looking at it now, I'm going to leave it out for this month, like out of my selection, but I'm going to leave it within view so that I continue to kind of think about the connection there. So I also have the Gentle Creatures Wisdom deck, which is a really nice, comforting deck, but it doesn't feel too much like a hug kind of deck, which I think there is room for everyone to have a hug deck. Absolutely. But that is something I tend to like to have. Like, the one I have is the Marigold Mornings affirmation cards. I keep those at work because when I want something that really feels like a hug, like a you can do it, just keep going, it's at work, you know? I don't feel so much like I need it at home. So this is one that I find is a really great in-between. And I feel like just has really nice fall into winter coloring. I know, isn't it so cute? And it really does cover some interesting topics in the keywords, I will say. So this is one I definitely want to continue to think about using as well. I do really enjoy this deck. So last but not least, we have the Conjure cards, which is also newer to me. And I've been really, really loving using these. And they are, I put them in the Oracle section, but I almost feel like they are a deck. It's a deck all its own. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't learned this one too well yet. I do feel like I can almost slot it in with the Lenormand, where I can just kind of throw it in knowing I'm not really going to use it like a normal Oracle and just see kind of what happens with it. I think that I'm tempted to do that, is to not really count this as one of the oracles, because I don't really think I would use it as such. It's its own divination system altogether. Yes, okay, that's my decision on that one. A really cool deck. I've been really loving getting to know this one, though. That is the Conjure cards. So I'm going to leave that one aside as well. Okay, back to some decisions. So if we have Gentle Creatures in here, now we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that leaves us to either eliminate one in the crib already, or one of the animal decks. Probably makes more sense to do one of the animal decks, but I do like all of them. Have I shown the nature portals yet? These are really cool. What time are we at? 9:30. Okay. We're doing pretty okay. We've got quite a few tarot decks to go through, but that's okay. That's okay. All right. These are made by Jamie Sawyer, and it's just the most beautiful artwork. So there are no titles or keywords on this deck, but it does come with a digital guidebook that shows the picture. So if it is an animal you're not familiar with, it's not too hard to kind of look around for it in the guidebook. I really actually love the circular shape. I'm not usually, look at that panda. I'm not usually one for circle decks at all, but this one, I don't know. I think as an oracle, that works for me. And the size of it, it's not too big, not too small kind of thing. I really do enjoy it. Oh, I guess I had a title card shuffled in still. So this is one, since it's newer, I really do want to get to know it better. Yes, the Druid plant animal decks are awesome. I do think I'm leaning towards keeping in the nature portals and the Druid plant / animal deck combined, and saving woodland wardens. I think that is one that really could be cool to use more like dead of winter. But this is the plant and animal, which is so beautiful. It's the same, it's Will Worthington, who is the same artist who made the art for the Wildwood. So it also pairs super well with that deck. But what I think is good about this one is since I've combined the two decks to make one sort of mega deck, I also trimmed the borders as well. But it gives me both that plant and animal energy, which I don't have another deck right now that gives me that kind of herb plant energy. I also love that we get dragons in this deck. I think that is super cool. Dragon energy is something I've been really interested in lately. I don't have any dragon decks. I'm not really sure exactly how I want to approach that kind of work. If anybody works with dragon energy, let me know. I'm very interested kind of to learn more about that. But it makes me think of spring and summer, so bright and vibrant. Yes, they are really bright and vibrant, you're right. They definitely lean spring summer, which is why I think if I want to use this one sometime soon, I feel like, not that, I guess I can, like, I make these weird rules for myself, right? But I do feel like November, it's still kind of like, we can use the bright colors a little bit, where once I get into January, February, that's not what I'm wanting at all, you know? So I think we are going to put the Woodland Wardens on hold, as well as the Guidance of the Goddess, and add in the Nature Portals and the, what should I call this? The Druid Oracle, should I just call it that? I think that is a good selection though. I am liking that. Okay, let's move on to tarot. If we remember, I've already got 5 sitting in the crib. And quite the selection going on over here. Let me pull these forward. Okay. So, let's see what we have here that is not in the crib. Okay, not crazy. It's not crazy. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. All right. So to start off, the first one I'm thinking I really do want to put into this rotation is the Carte Postal Tarot. I gotta look that up. Or ask Sandy how she pronounces it. She definitely pronounces it correctly. But this is one that I won in a giveaway and really have loved kind of looking through. I did a whole deep dive with Andy and Sandy where we were on FaceTime for like, I swear, 4 or 5 hours going through these cards. But since we did that, I have not picked this deck up again. I almost feel like we went through it so intensely, it needed like a cooling down period to let the thoughts and images just kind of sink into my brain a little bit. But November, as I said, is where I really like to lean into that ancestral vintage kind of feel, and this definitely has that. So I think it's feeling right to use now, this time of year. And I would really like to try using it for that ancestral type energy, which is something I really want to work with this month. So that is the Carte Postal Tarot. I think we are definitely going to stick with that one for the month. Oh, Druidcraft. Yes, You've seen a dragon for. How neat is that? I definitely want to learn more about dragons. You have the Carte Postal. Yeah, doesn't it have a November feel? It's like this one and the Trionfi della Luna have that like antique to beige look to it that I feel like just really works this time of year. All right, so next up, oh, okay, this one is a definite. This is my new walking meditation tarot. I backed this on Kickstarter. I am so head over heels for this one. So this is a deck that is supposed to kind of relate to the idea of a walking meditation. I gather kind of like walking through nature as a meditation type act. What's cool with this deck is we get the tarot guidebook, which is really a decent size, but we also get this little booklet, not even little, I mean, it's a decent booklet, about a guide to walking meditation. So the practice itself, really cool. But even that aside, I love this deck. First of all, I mean, the backs are really cool. Very wintry, I'll say, the backs. But then look at the edging color. Isn't that so pretty? It's like a robin's egg blue. So this is a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a photography deck, but a photography deck that has been, what's the word? Like played around with? Can't think of the word. But I know, so the creator took images she took on her own walking meditations, played around with them to make them look a little bit more like paintings almost, and then added in kind of, you know, of course titles, but then also some of the cards have pips added in. Filter put over, yeah, it's like a filter put over almost. Oh, Tarot Volatile is such a good deck. I am planning on bringing that one in probably like January, when we're in that real like deep winter. I think it would be really cool to bring that one out. Manipulation, yes, photo manipulation. Oh, that is the other perk of doing this live, is it's when I inevitably forget every word I've ever learned, you all can help me think of exactly what I meant. So yes, I mean, this deck, I mean, it's got all 4 seasons. But to me, it really leans into that winter, fall type of feel. Look at that wheel card. That's another one I really love. So this is one I definitely want to keep exploring in November, since I did also get that new. It might have actually been later September, now that I think about it. But I really love this one. All right, we're at 7. Okay, let's look at this critically, why don't we? Okay, so I had out the Victorian Fairy Tarot, but I think a better fairy energy for the month is still going to be that Hush Tarot, so I think we can put this one aside. Now, what do we have left? Okay. We'll go on to the next one I definitely want to use, and then I think we've got like a battle between 2 different, like, clear kind of decks. Do we? Yes. Yes, okay. So this is the Steampunk Tarot, which I got a few months ago now, and I feel like I've just been saving it for this time of year. I did trim it, which I really love how that turned out. And I love the size it created. But this is another Llewellyn deck, and it's got that darker feel. Again, we get that vintage kind of energy, and I feel like it's a great transition. A great transition from spooky season into winter. That's what I'm feeling like from this deck. And so this is one I've been really, really excited to use, especially since the guidebook is written by Barbara Moore. She might be my favorite guidebook writer. I really love how she interprets a lot of the cards. Another new deck I got used this month is the Tarot of the Hidden Realms, which she also wrote the guidebook for that, and I have been loving that. I've been really using that in my own spiritual practice, so that's been really neat. So anyway, the Steampunk Tarot is one I definitely want to bring in for November, so that takes slot number 8, I think. 8, yes. All right, so let's get into these last category of decks. So to start off, I've got both of my Baba Studios decks out. We've got the Fantastic Menagerie and the Victorian Romantic. So both of these have more of a fall-winter feel to me. I don't really know why, because the Fantastic Menagerie is arguably kind of more spring-summer colors. But I think because it's that storybook, the storybook illustrations, that to me feels cozy and nostalgic, which brings my brain to more winter time. And so I think that's why this has made it to this list. but I do think it's one that could be interesting to save, again, more for as we get really into that winter time, as a deck to really bring some lightness and brightness to the inevitably just darker decks I use for that time of year. Because I think this would be really cool to use alongside the John Bower Tarot, which I definitely plan to use more like, ooh, this could even be fun in December. I don't know why. Anyway, so then we also have the Victorian Romantic, which leans as well into that kind of vintage ancestral feel. So I guess part of me was thinking, well, is it going to be too similar to the Carte Postale? I don't know. Perhaps. Maybe it will be. Oh, now that I'm looking at it, is that going to be just like too similar feeling to the Carte Postale? I do love this deck. I don't know. Let me show my two other options and we'll go from there. So I hesitated on the way I split them up because I also have my Northern Animal Tarot, which I feel like also could compete with the Fantastic Menagerie because they're both those anthropomorphic animal type decks. This is one, I mean, yeah, too similar, right? So this is one, I mean, I bring it out all the time, year round, but it's been a bit since I've had this in a like daily reading rotation, and I do really feel like I want to bring this one back into that kind of rotation. So, you know what? Yeah, no, I want to bring this one in. That's going to be a definite. So then it'll be a choice between these last three. So Victorian Romantic, Fantastic Menagerie, and the Anima Mundi Tarot. Yeah, definitely similar to Fantastic Menagerie. I think that is one I can definitely put aside for this month. So the Anima Mundi it's an animal tarot that definitely has that darker feel to it, just with the tone of the colors in this deck. And so I paired this up against Northern Animal because, do you like my Halloween pajama bottoms, by the way? Because I was figuring like they're both animal decks, but Northern Animal, it is and it isn't to me, you know? Where this one is a true animal tarot, which I work a lot with animal energy, so I think this could be a good one to have in that rotation. Oh, I really thought I was going to have a Baba Studios in there this month. I really did, but I think those are ones I might hold on to for December, January. I should have led with the Halloween pajamas, I know. I didn't realize they were going to get in camera, but I should have led with that, huh? They are the Target pajamas. Highly recommend. The sets, they're like $20. And they are the best. I think Anima Mundi is the way to go. They're both beautiful, but Fantastic feels like a book. There's some space. Northern feels like you're there and interacting with friends. Yes. Yes. Anima Mundi is a great animal deck. I highly recommend it. It is also one I find you can somewhat easily find used as well if you are looking to save a few dollars. I tend to try and get most decks that I'm getting new, I see if I can get it used first. You know, because if someone's looking to rehome, I'll give a deck a new home. And then, you know, you save a little bit of money. So this I did find on Mercari used. This is one I really went back and forth on as well. I think, again, it was just about the pips. I wasn't comfortable or I didn't realize I was comfortable reading with them until recently, or that I liked them, pretty much because of Antique Anatomy and revisiting that deck. Okay, should we do a recap? Oh, this is perfect timing because we are at 9:50, so we'll do a recap and then we will end it there, and I will see you again, hopefully live next week. I think this was fun. Let me know what you thought about doing this kind of video live. I had fun. I liked getting to chat with you all. But let's go through our November decks. This is so exciting. So the two extras that don't count are the Conjure cards and the Nocturnal Garden Lenormand. For Oracle, we've got the combined Druid, Plant, and Animal. Oh, I'm so glad you all had fun too. That's so exciting. Sawyer's Nature Portals, the Gentle Creatures Wisdom deck. This is the Fairy Forest Oracle. We've got the Urban Crow, Southern Gothic, Illuminated Earth Tarot, Coastal Curiosities, the White Hair Wisdom, which comes in this cute bag. I love how that got sent. And then we've got the Seasons of the Witch, Samhain to start the month, and then we'll probably switch over to the Yule. And then Tarot, we've got the Trionfi della Luna. That's the illustrated. We are bringing back Madame Lydia. We have the Hush Tarot. Dark Wood. A lot of bags in this category. Antique Anatomy, which is on the floor because I was edging it. Antique Anatomy. This is the color I'm edging it in. It's like this kind of like beige color that it kind of matches the front, in between the fronts and the backs, that kind of tone. The Carte Postale. Walking Meditation. This might be not... I don't like to pick favorites. But this might be the one I'm most excited about, I have to say. And we have the Steampunk Tarot, the Northern Animal, and last but not least, the Anima Mundi. So this is still quite a large selection of decks. So I'm interested to see, when I do a selection for next month, if it's still kind of the same thing of like, there was a good number of decks I didn't really get around to using, and kind of going from there. I mean, I'm okay if there are decks that I don't end up using so much. That doesn't bother me. I think my brain does better knowing I've got the choices almost. So, oh my gosh, it's 1 a.m. in Australia. Oh, thank you for being here, Michelle. It sounds like... Doing the same with Seasons of the Witch. Yes! Oh my gosh, I get so excited for this time of year because it's like, okay, we are going... These are some of my favorite oracles. Again, I use them year-round, but when it's like their season, I live for it. But I think that is all I have for today. So I will see you all. I will be posting probably on Tuesday my October favorites, where I'll get more into detail on the decks I really used a lot for October. But then I will hopefully see you all live again next Sunday. I hope you all enjoyed. I had so much fun hanging out with you, and have a great rest of your week.